Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center located at 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. So if you're ever in our area, come and worship with. We invite you to come and experience a better quality of life at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. And we welcome you and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. So if you're in our area, service begins at 10 a.m. If you're not in our area, you can tune in on our YouTube channel at New Life Christian Center - Pastor Pope. The Sunday sermon goes live at 10:45 a.m., but service begins at 10 a.m. and we invite everyone to experience a better quality of life. I'm going to begin today by saying that we are really making our efforts to provide food for those who are experiencing food insecurity. So reach out to us on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will give you instructions on how you can pick up food at our food pantry at New Life Food Source Pantry. And we want to make certain that no one is dealing with food insecurity. So contact us on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. And as always, we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart and whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And so I'm going to say to all of our listeners and viewers, we want to stay connected with you throughout the week through our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com. We play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you. So we want you to stay connected with us. Go to WKAPFaith.com and tune in and listen 24 hours a day, commercial free, aside from our sponsor line from Fiji Water, where we broadcast from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio. So I'm going to make another announcement today. First of all, let me remind everyone that on Monday, July 1st, New Life International Community Development Corporation became your private money lender broker. So if you are in need of funding for real estate projects, whether it is flipping houses, whether it is developing residential projects, or whether it is commercial projects, we have capital available for you. And we are available in 48 states. So contact us, text us on the T-Mobile call or text line. We will give you all the information necessary for you to receive funding. We want to make certain that if you're in the real estate business, it cannot be owner occupied. The projects cannot be owner occupied, but we have funding available for you in 48 states. So text us on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We are going to be launching a GoFundMe campaign. I'm going to be running a half marathon in November. And so we're doing it to raise money for our food pantry, because not only do we take donations, but we accept monetary donations, but I'm going to ask all of you to sponsor my run. The run is 13.1 miles. So we're going to be setting up a GoFundMe page where you can donate either, it's 13.1 miles, so you can either donate $13.10, or if you'd like to donate $131, or if you are a business or company that we're going to be reaching out to support, or if you know of a company that can support, they can donate $1,310. But we're going to be setting up that campaign. So I want everyone to sponsor the run so that we can raise money for our food pantry, because we have some exciting things going on, trying to make certain that we are able to help everyone who is in need. So you'll be hearing more about that in the coming weeks. Like and subscribe to broadcast right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you introduced your brother to your best friend and they started dating. And when they broke up, she stopped talking to you, you said. You want to know, how do you get back your best friend? So let me begin by saying this, first of all. Often people, when they go through these experiences, when a relationship comes to an end, they want to separate themselves from anyone who was attached to that relationship. And they do that trying to get their emotional well-being stable. But here's the reality. You introduced them because you thought that your best friend needed companionship. You introduced your brother because you know your best friend's a good person. You thought it'd be a good fit for him, but at the end of the day, it didn't work out. Lesson learned. You may not want to be the matchmaker any longer. But with regard to getting back your best friend, the relationship really destroyed something in her that then provoked her to no longer talk to you. In today's society, first of all, you could leave her a message and you could tell her that you're sorry, that you regret that the relationship didn't work out, but you don't want to lose her friendship. The problem that you're going to have is it's your brother. And she's going to believe that at some point in time, when she's spending time with you, she's going to encounter your brother, which is going to only irritate her because of how the relationship ended. So what you can do is leave her a message. If she won't take the call, leave her a message and ensure her that moving forward, anytime your brother's going to be around, you'll give her a heads up, you'll give her a notice and let her know so that she can not be in his presence, because she's not there. She's not able to be in his presence and be comfortable. So you've got to be all okay with that. Sometimes the problem is she may be concerned that your brother said something to you about something about her that makes her feel uncomfortable. So there's a lot of variables in this. But at the end of the day, the reality is that you can either leave her a voicemail or you can text her and make it a detailed message. But there's ways that you can communicate to her now without having to sit down and talk with her. Although I would invite you to, I would suggest and recommend that you invite her to sit down with you and just talk to her, explain to her that your brother, she may not be receptive to doing that, but your brother hasn't shared anything with you about the relationship, how it ended, why it ended. Well, because, at the end of the day, they're no longer together. Your brother may not have given you any details, but there's a problem with the way the relationship ended. So you're going to have to overcome that if you really want to restore this friendship. But the one takeaway is lesson learned. You definitely don't, and this is for all of our listeners and viewers, be mindful of this. You definitely don't want to introduce someone in your family to a friend that you consider to be your best friend. Because if it doesn't work out, that relationship's going to falter. You're not going to have the same relationship, or it's going to come to an end. You may not want to be the matchmaker for your friends and family, because relationships are very complicated. And often they don't survive. And when they don't survive, it changes the dynamics that you have with the people in your life. So you've got to decide, is that something that is beneficial? And what's really interesting is your intentions were good. You had good intentions. It just didn't work out the way you thought it would work out. At the end of the day, you wanted to make your best friend, you wanted to have your best friend become your sister-in-law. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. So you've got to take a step back and just consider this a lesson learned. And if you cannot restore the relationship, then it was meant to come to an end. Because you got to move on. She's got to move on, you've got to move on, your brother's got to move on, everybody's got life to live. And I understand that your intentions were good. You were thinking about your best friend, you were thinking about your brother, you thought it would be a good relationship for both of them. But unfortunately, your brother had other plans. And so I'm going to say this to you and to all of our listeners and viewers. Relationships don't always work out. We see that in relationships between significant others. We see that in relationships with people who are married. Relationships are complicated and difficult, particularly when God is not in the midst, particularly when God is not the foundation of the relationship, particularly when you're not standing on the Word of God and you're trying to figure it out for yourselves. And part of the problem in our society today is that everyone thinks they can figure it all out for themselves. It's not that simple to have a relationship and build a relationship, because one of the things that occurs in a relationship is two individual people come together with two entirely different life experiences and they try to merge that together. And it's not always successful merging them together. And so I say to you, if you can restore the relationship with your best friend, great. If you can't, lesson learned, move on. Don't spend any more time on it, because it will only cause you anxiety. It will only cause you to feel emotionally unstable because you lost a friend. You're not going to lose your brother, because your brother is always going to be your brother, but the friend is now gone, and your spirit is troubled. Make the effort and then move on. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do, I just want to remind everyone that this next segment of the broadcast will be brought to you by Comcast Business. So if you are looking for the best telecom solutions for your business, whether you're a small startup or a large enterprise, contact Sarah Jo Boyle at Comcast Business at 215-964-3670 and give your business the edge it deserves. Your code is Pastor Pope for exclusive August discounts. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have dreams of what you want life to become. However, you still have not been able to get where you want to go. And you want to know, how do you get there? So I'm going to begin by saying this. First and foremost, you've got to turn your dream into a vision. And your vision, you then have to turn into a plan. And then you have a plan to work from, and you have the opportunity to get to the place you desire to go. So let me break this down. One of the things I've often said over the years, and I will continue to repeat this, is that a man or woman with no dreams has no future. So you have to be able to look beyond where you are right now, and you have to say, this is what I desire for my life. You've done that part. You say, but you haven't been able to get to where you want to go. But then your dream has to become a vision, meaning you have to sit down and write the vision and make it plain. You have to write what you want to accomplish so that you have a clear vision. You have to write it out. Because if you don't write it down, it will not happen. So you have to write, the Bible tells us, write the vision, make it plain. When you make it plain, you make a plan. When you have a plan, you then have a plan to work. So your vision then becomes your plan. And this is one of the things I encourage everyone to do. Write a 7-year plan, write a 14-year plan, write a 21-year plan. If you write the plan, you will then have a plan to work. So you will be able to work the plan for the next 21 years. And you will begin to experience success along the way, because when you have a plan, you get the opportunity to work that plan. So someone often says, people say to me often, not just one person, but often people say to me, well, Pastor Pope, how do I write a 7-year plan? So I encourage everyone, you can take baby steps, but I encourage you to expand on that. And here's what that looks like. Write out what you want to accomplish first. Both personally, 3 things that you want to accomplish personally and you want to accomplish professionally for 1 year. And then do the same thing for the next 6 years. So that's 7 years. So you've got 3 things that you want to accomplish personally and 3 things that you want to accomplish professionally for each year. And then those are the baby steps. And then you expand on that by, what do I need to do to accomplish those 3 things in my personal life each quarter of the year? So you chart out 3 things that you want to accomplish in the first quarter, 3 things you want to accomplish in the second quarter, 3 things you want to accomplish in the third quarter, 3 things you want to accomplish in the fourth quarter. That is for your personal life, and then you do the same thing for your professional life. And then you expand it out for the next 6 years. So that will give you a foundation to work from. So again, 3 things personally, 3 things professionally for 1 year. Start there. And then once you get those 3 things done for each, then do the same thing for the next 6 years. And then go back and write out what you need to do to accomplish those 3 things each quarter of the year. Personally and professionally. And the reason I say that, I did things a little differently, but I've shared this with some people. You may make some modifications in what I just said, and I'll tell you why I say that. Because for me, I literally sat down and just took 1 year at a time and did what I'm suggesting to you is, and this is because God gave me this vision. So I sat down, and for 1 year, I charted out, okay, what do I want to accomplish personally for 3 years and professionally for 3 years? Pardon me, 3 things I wanted to accomplish personally for the first year, and 3 things I wanted to accomplish professionally for the first year. And then I expanded on it for that first year. Then I did the same thing for the second year, and for the third year, and for the fourth year. So I sat down and I said, okay, this is what I have to do in the first quarter to accomplish that. This is what I have to do in the second quarter to accomplish that. This is what I have to do in the third quarter to accomplish that. And this is what I have to do in the fourth quarter to accomplish that. And I wrote out 3 things that I had to do in each of those quarters. So now what I had is 12 things to accomplish, both personally and both professionally, in the first year. Now here's the great thing about the revelation, because there's 12 months in a year. So that means that I've got 12 months to accomplish all 12 of those things. And then I did the same thing for year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7. Now, the problem is some people don't have the same focus. Everyone's different. So you may have to break it up and do 3 things you want to accomplish personally for the first year, 3 things you want to accomplish professionally for the first year, and then do the same thing for year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then go back and expand on it. You may need to do that. But whatever you need to do, just do it, because you got to have a plan to work from. And then you do the same thing for the 14-year plan, meaning you just another 7 years. Pick up from where you left off, and what do you want to accomplish the second 7 years, and then the third 7 years. So now you've got a 21-year plan. A 21-year plan. And realistically, you can accomplish that in 21 days. But the problem is that most people, because you can do 1 year a day, but the problem is most people don't have that kind of focus on building a great quality of life. They're more focused on activities. So over the 21 days, most people get distracted. I'd rather be doing this than building a life for myself. They don't say that, but unconsciously that's what you're doing. You're delaying your destiny. So they get distracted, they start doing other things become more important to them, and before you know it, they don't have a plan. They're just living life. But you got to have a plan. And as you work the plan, you'll begin to see things materialize. And things will take shape, and they will begin to be something great, because it's all God's revelation. And how do we know that? Because think about this. God created heaven and earth in 7 days. On the 7th day, he rested. So he was finished. But you have to be able to focus on where you want to go. But you first got to turn your dream into a vision, then your vision into a plan. Write the vision, make it plain, that he that reads it may run to it. In other words, he that is constantly reading the plan will work the plan until it is completed, until the coming of the Lord, until the Lord calls you home. And that's how you continue to build a great quality of life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by PorscheAmerica.com. If you are in the market for a high-performance automobile, one of the finest high-performance automobiles manufactured in the world, go to Porsche.com. You will have the opportunity to virtually build out the Porsche you desire to own. And if you're in our area, you can simply go to PorscheDelaware.com, ask to speak to Mike Didio, who's the general manager at PorscheDelaware.com. He will have someone assist you in selecting the Porsche you desire to own. And if you are in our area and you currently own a Porsche and you're just in need of service, go to PorscheDelaware.com, ask to speak to Mike Adams, who is the service manager at PorscheDelaware.com. He will have someone schedule an appointment for you. They will pick up your vehicle at your home or office, and they will provide you with the loaner vehicle and return your vehicle to you when your service has been completed at PorscheDelaware.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. And as we go into this segment, I want to remind you that this segment of the broadcast is going to be brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. And if you're not in New York, if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from The White Company you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com and The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. They have home goods, clothing for men, women, and children at The White Company. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, I'm just trying to make certain that we're not losing our technology here and having any problems with our broadcast. But I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are finding it difficult to get your children to realize that you are aging and can not focus on your attention on them any longer, and that you will not be here forever. So you want them to understand that now you have to, at this point in their lives, because they're adults, they have to start being responsible for themselves. You know, it's very interesting that you made that comment, sent in that communication, because what's happened in our society, and I'm going to walk you through this path. You're right, none of us are getting out of this alive, so they need to understand that you're not always going to be here. I get that. Our goal as parents is to make ourselves, to build our children up to a point where we become irrelevant, that we're no longer relevant to them, in the sense of they can no longer depend on us, because we have to prepare ourselves for leaving this life. And the reason I use that term, leaving this life, is because we have life after this. We have eternal life. We live forever in heaven, but we're not going to live forever here on earth. And so you say it's difficult to get them to realize that. The way that you get your children to realize that is stop enabling them to depend on you. They've got to learn to be not just self-sufficient, but they have to learn to be responsible. They think they're self-sufficient now, but the moment a crisis hits, it's you they turn to. And that's the condition of the society in which we're living right now. We are living in a society that has become self-consumed and is just windblown, going to and fro, doing whatever the culture is doing, and therefore when they are in dire straits, they come to you. But we have to stop enabling them. We have to get out of God's way, allow God to develop them, because their struggle is your struggle. So you've got to let them struggle independently. You've got to let them find out what it's like to live a life that is independent. Not that you're not there to give them guidance or instruction, but that they have to be independent, solely on themselves. See, you know, often, because many of us are living longer now, they feel like, you know, you'll be around for the next 40 years. But that may not be the case. It may, but it may not be the case. You might not be around for the next 30 years. You might not be around for the next 20 years. None of us knows the hour nor the day, so we have to prepare them to live life long after we're gone, and get them to a place where we become irrelevant in their lives. Not that they don't spend time with us, not that we don't spend time with them, but they know that they've got to be solely independent and dependent on the Lord. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding.